Hello, friends, and welcome to La Rosa Reads. I'm Denise La Rosa, and my favorite season is upon us, the season of fall. So let's fall into some books. Fall, oh, how I love you. Pumpkin spice and everything nice, Halloween and all the things. I love the season of fall, and I would love to start this September month with some wonderful reads that are familiar, that have familiar characters. And I am talking about sequels. I have read the first of several series of books this year, and I believe that September would be a wonderful, cozy month to just curl up with a book filled with characters that I know and love. And so the first few books in my September TBR are books from series that I've already begun. Earlier this year in March, I read Before the Coffee Gets Cold, and I am super excited to read its sequel titled Tales from the Cafe. This book series takes place in Tokyo at a mysterious cafe that gives its patrons the ability to venture into the past and have conversations with people from the past with some boundaries, some stipulations, some rules attached. And here we have the sequel, Tales from the Cafe. I truly enjoyed Before the Coffee Gets Cold because it had short stories of characters that were so compelling, so just full of love and hope and all of the feelings, and you wanted to follow their journey and their experience revisiting people from their past. And so I'm curious, what's happening in Tales from the Cafe? Oh, yay! We're going to see faces both familiar and new. Tales from the Cafe follows the story of 4 patrons who visit to take advantage of the cafe's time-traveling offer and revisit moments with family, friends, and lovers. Each one must face up to the past to move on with their lives. Wistful and heartwarming. And I just love those 2 words to describe this series. I am looking forward to it. I think September is the perfect month to cozy up with Tales from the Cafe. And then we have my girl, Jasmine Guillory. I have been reading the Wedding Date series. I started with book 4 of that series, The Royal Holiday, back in December of 2021. And I pumped the brakes, backed it up, and started reading the first 2 books in the series. And here is book 3, The Wedding Party. It looks fun, inviting, dazzling. Look at this cover. I mean, oh my lordy, it's so exciting to dive into another Jasmine Guillory book. I love these characters. I love how from one book to the next in the series, there's crossover characters. These relationships are so wonderful to follow. It's not necessary to read the books in order, but oh my goodness, you guys, it is so enjoyable to read the books in order because you see familiar characters and you get fully invested into their love lives and, all the stuff that makes romance books fantabulous. Oh, yay! So Maddie and Theo are the lovers that we're focused on in this book in the series, The Wedding Date. So with Alexa's wedding rapidly approaching, Maddie and Theo both share bridal party responsibilities that require more interaction with each other than they're comfortable with. Underneath the sharp barbs they toss at each other is a simmering attraction that won't fade. It builds until they find themselves sneaking off together to release some tension when Alexa isn't looking, agreeing they'll end it once the wedding is over. Ooh, I likey. I cannot wait to dive into The Wedding Party. And speaking of book series, I would love to start a new book series in the month of September. And that book series is Beartown by Frederick Bachman. So Frederick Bachman is an author that I hear so much about from my book-loving friends. And they tell me that they believe in their heart of hearts that I will be a Frederick Bachman fan. And what better way to dive into his work than to start with his Beartown series, book 1, as I prepare to read the new book that's coming out soon from that series, The Winners, and I believe that comes out in November. And that is a book club selection for my in-person book club that I'm a member of. So what's happening in Beartown? I don't know, so let's find out. So this is a dazzling, profound novel about a small town with a big dream and the price required to make it come true. Already, y'all, I'm loving this because I'm from a small town. People say Beartown is finished. A tiny community nestled deep in the forest, it is slowly losing ground to the ever-encroaching trees. But down by the lake stands an old ice rink built generations ago by the working men who founded this town. And in that ice rink is the reason people in Beartown believe tomorrow will be better than today. Is it gold, silver? Like, what's happening? Their junior ice hockey team is about to compete in the national semifinals, and they actually have a shot at winning. Oh, okay. All the hopes and dreams of this place now rest on the shoulders of a handful of teenage boys. No pressure. Jeez. Okay. Being responsible for the hopes of an entire town is a heavy burden, just like I thought. And the semifinal match is the catalyst for a violent act that will leave a young girl traumatized in a town in turmoil. Okay, I like that twist. Accusations are made, and like ripples on a pond, they travel through all of Beartown, leaving no resident unaffected. Beartown explores the hopes that bring a small community together, the secrets that tear it apart, and the courage it takes for an individual to go against the grain. In this story of a small forest town, Frederick Bachman has found the entire world. That was perhaps one of the best synopses that I have ever read. Wow, that was profound and moving. So, Beartown, here I come. Colleen Hoover is everywhere. I'm not on Book Talk. I'm not on TikTok in general, but, you know, she's all the rage there. I see Colleen Hoover books all over Bookstagram and BookTube, and when I go into Barnes & Noble, it's like Colleen Hoover, Colleen Hoover, Colleen Hoover, Colleen Hoover! And I haven't read a single Colleen Hoover book, and I can't say that I have a case of FOMO. I definitely don't have a fear of missing out on Colleen Hoover. I'm just at the point in my book reading life where I'm just simply curious, like, what's all the fuss about? Is Colleen Hoover worth the hype? Are her books worth the hype? I don't know. So a long time ago, several months ago, I asked you guys which Colleen Hoover book should I read first. And I asked this question on Bookstagram and BookTube, and Verity won. It's actually interesting because this book evokes very strong feelings on opposite ends of the spectrum from readers of Colleen Hoover's books. So I'm either going to love it or hate it according to the feedback that I got from folks. I don't know. We shall see. What I do know is that this book is a little bit darker than what Colleen Hoover's books typically give us. And, you know, September might be a fun month to dive into a book that's a little dark. As, you know, it gets darker earlier outside and, you know, got a little chill in the air. Maybe I should read this in October, but I want to read this book in September. I'm looking forward to it. We're talking about an author who is ill and her husband hires someone to help take care of some work that she has yet to finish as far as writing a book. And that assistant falls upon some very interesting information about Verity, and it has to do with life or death and the death of a relative, and, you know, that's kind of the gist of it. Sounds like a wild ride to me. I cannot wait. While I was at Myrtle Beach, I purchased some books at Back Again Bookshop, and this is one of those lovely books. It is titled My Killer Vacation. This is a book that I think falls under the genre of cozy mystery, and I've been hearing a lot about it here and there in BookTube land. And I think September is kind of a fun month to read a cozy mystery that has to do with a vacation because we're coming off a vacation, at least those of us who work in the field of education, like myself. And so I think it would be nice to kind of imagine somebody or read about somebody being on vacation when I am like full-fledged back into work mode. And yeah, I think there's a little bit of romance going on here. It looks like a fun time just judging from the cover, so we shall see. The next book is a 5-star prediction for me, and it is Training School for Negro Girls. I purchased this book back in 2020, and I am sad to say that I haven't read the book yet. I also have this book on audio. But I think September will be the time, September of 2022. So hard to believe that I've had this book for over 2 years and have yet to open it up because I just remember anxiously awaiting for this book to arrive in the mail. And now I'm like, why have I not read it yet? Have you ever done that? It's interesting that we book lovers sometimes do that to ourselves. But yeah, I've talked about this book several times on my channel, so I'm not going to go deep into the synopsis. You can check out some other videos where I discuss this book in more detail. What I do know is with the work that I do at an independent all-girls school, this is a book that I think will give me some inspiration and connection to the work that I do while connecting with my book-loving self. So, looking forward to reading Training School for Negro Girls. Oh my lordy, I just cannot stop smiling looking at the cover of this book. I have wanted to read this book for so long. I have several friends that have been telling me about how fantastic this book is. They've read the book. They thought of me when they read the book and thought that I would love the book. And so it's time for me to read the book. And it is the Gunkle. Look at this cover, y'all. Oh my goodness. I cannot stop smiling at this cover for the Gunkle. There's so much to love about this cover and just the whole idea of this book. I think it's going to be a fun ride. I want to read something like this as I'm getting back into the routine of back to school with my daughters. I know that this time of the year has the potential to fill us up with a lot of big feelings, excitement, nervousness, and, just trying to get back into life as I know it from school year to school year. So I need an escape, and I have the feeling the Gunkle is going to deliver for me with that. So Patrick, or Gay Uncle Patrick, Gup for short, has always loved his niece Maisie and nephew Grant. That is, he loves spending time with them when they come out to Palm Springs for week-long visits or when he heads home to Connecticut for the holidays. So when tragedy strikes and Patrick finds himself suddenly taking on the role of primary guardian, he is honestly overwhelmed. Patrick has no idea what to expect, having spent years barely holding on after the loss of his great love, a somewhat stalled acting career, and a lifestyle not so suited to a 6- and 9-year-old. But when his waggish set of Gunkle rules no longer appease Maisie and Grant's parental void, Patrick's eyes are open to a new sense of responsibility and the realization that sometimes even being larger than life means you're unfailingly human. I'm already in love. This last book that I am hoping to get around to in the month of September is a book that I had no intentions or even I didn't even have an awareness of this book. I had no intentions of buying it because I didn't know it existed. However, what I did know existed was that 50% off hardback sale at Barnes & Noble. So your girl ventured over, thought she'd, contribute to the economy and purchase a couple of books at 50% off. This book was in the 50% off hardback section. And then when I went to check it out, I discovered that it wasn't 50% off. But I had already fallen in love with the book. So how am I going to put it back on the shelf? So I don't think that trip was very rewarding for my bank accounts. It's a little bizarre, but here we are. So we have this book, Acts of Violet, a novel. I am not familiar with this author, Margarita Montemore. But this cover just pulled me in, and I had a feeling it was going to be a bit of a thriller or mystery or some combination of the two. And I guess I'm in the mood for that as, fall approaches. So Violet Volk is an iconic magician, and she performed her greatest trick yet, a vanishing mid-act. But she legit vanishes. And then there's apparently a podcast that resurfaces this mystery about this missing magician years and years later. And that piques the interest of people to try to solve this mystery. I believe I'm going to look here. Yeah, it was the 10th anniversary of Violet's final performance. So this is a story of fame, deception, and forgiveness that will make you believe in magic. Okay. Acts of Violet. I think I'm going to like you. So here we are. We don't have Beartown here yet. I hope to check that one out of the library soon. But we do have Tales from the Cafe, The Wedding Party, Verity, My Killer Vacation, Training School for Negro Girls, The Gunkle, and Acts of Violet. I like this eclectic mix of books. I have found my happy place in reading every month whenever I have a nice variety of genres on my TBR. So, what are you planning to read in the month of September? Let me know. And you can also find out what I read in the month of August. So stick around and check out other TBR videos such as the one from last month. And until next time, happy reading. Bye.